we're going to start off, first of all, with Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi is the WDI country contact for India and publishes amazing articles and also the fantastic film that you published last year. And there's now coming up a new film, Behind the Looking Glass, which is going to be about the lives of trans widows. So Vaishnavi, will you tell us a little bit about it, and then the clip you've got from it? I've got it ready.
So like you said, the title is Behind the Looking Glass. It's a feature-length documentary about the lives of trans widows. Trans widows are women who have taken up this terminology for themselves, whose husbands or partners have quote unquote transitioned. So we hear so much about the stunning and brave stories of these husbands. You see them in all newspapers. You see them being celebrated on Mother's Day. You see them in newspapers on Women's Day, but you hear very little about the women that are married to these men. And even as idle curiosity, you don't hear about the women that are resisting said transition. You hear about the women who have completely agreed to it, are calling themselves lesbians right now. They are probably popular because they are aligning themselves with the ideology completely. So you hear so much about the women that are saying that they are now lesbians. Utterly bizarre things that you hear about the wife, but not the stories of wives who are saying no to this, who are saying that they are not lesbians and that they did not marry a woman and that they want to either stay married with the man that they married in the beginning, or just end this whole circus, so to speak. So my film is documenting stories of 18 women from around the world. And though I would have really liked it if I had stories of women from India as well, but we are far away from that because we don't have that vocabulary, and because of all our languages and everything, it's very difficult for women to come up with compiling their emotions and experiences in a way that can be understood globally. Because right now, there is also the social culture phenomenon where there are these communities called kotis within the Hijra community, where it has been known for many, many years, decades even, where there are men who have families, children, and things like that. But they also have this double life where they cross-dress and they probably solicit at night, perform sex work, quote unquote. So this has been going on. Now, any resistance to that, it's going to be questioning the very cultural phenomenon that has been going on in India, like challenging Indian culture itself or something like that. So it's going to be a long time before women are gathering their courage and also to have like the vocabulary to speak out about all of these things. But I will kind of draw a broad sort of understanding about the status of women in India right now, because many women are able to seek divorce on the basis of the fact that their adult partners seeking sexual reassignment surgery. So the court is granting them divorce on that basis, not because they are concerned for women, not because they think it's the right thing to do, but because they no longer consider this as a valid married institution, right? Because that man has transitioned and become a woman. And there are so many other horrible things that are going on that you never hear about because it's not advertised as such. Like self-ID is legal here. Adult men, intact males can self-declare themselves to be female and can get F marker on their passports if they wanted to, because there is a legal precedent. Somebody has already done it. So every high court sort of just basically citing that as an example and seeking the same thing for their respective passports as well. So it's all extremely dangerous situation. And as you know, when things get really bad, it is the global South that is going to be paying the price for it a lot longer, because the West would have moved on and found something else to fight for. But the ramifications of things that are going on in the global South is going to last a lot longer. And probably women are going to be utterly confused because they won't even know what has hit them.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely horrifying. I mean, I'm really interested in knowing how's the government and how's Modi reacting to this? It just seems like, I mean, does he ever talk about it?
You would never hear any politician talk about this at all. You wouldn't have anyone make a public statement about this. But silently, what's going on is they're all just affirming, because it is under Modi rule that we have something called SMILE. It's an acronym. It's basically like a facility that is created by the state to provide some sort of a financial or a recourse for marginalized communities. So within that, there are now homes that are set up in different states called, it's like a Garima Greh. Basically, it's like a home where if you run away from your house, if you want a place to stay, you can go there. It's exclusively for trans-identified, male and female, but it's exclusively for trans-identified people. And the government is providing 5 lakhs rupees as insurance if you want to get, surgeries and things. And if you go to any state hospital, it is free. So to me, and also parallelly, gay marriage hasn't been legalized yet. So to me, this is basically quietly just transing the gay away, right? Because why are you holding on to one community's freedom to marry while quietly just providing everything to this other community that is basically not even part of the civil rights movement, so to speak, in India. So basically anything that is provided by the government, the trans community is seeking that for itself. And they're claiming that on the mere fact that they are also a marginalized community. There is no other basis for it other than that. So Modi does not make a statement. Nobody will make a statement. And also it's the union government, right? Each state has its own state-based laws as well. So there are some states that are more woke than the rest. Unfortunately, Tamil Nadu, the state that I belong to, is kind of liberal, has always been liberal. So they are providing a lot of schemes. Trans-identified males can now travel in female-only buses and things like that. So yeah, so many things are happening, but you will not hear a politician make statements like that. Although there are MLAs and MPs who will make statements that write newspaper articles that we need to provide schemes and other things for trans-identified males because trans women are women and they're marginalized, etc., etc. And also there is a huge overlap between caste and trans-identification in India as well, because most of these the members of the Hijra community come from a marginalized caste. So it is very easy for anybody to look at that and think that it's a very important cause to fight for because they are from an oppressed caste and you need to, help them come away from it, etc. But that has got nothing to do with identifying as the opposite sex at all. But it's very difficult to get through to them because they immediately call you as somebody who's supporting the caste system itself, which is not true. So they've sort of made it impossible for anybody to put forward sex-based rights as an agenda because they have all of these other systems in check. They can easily call you things like the TERF or, and caste. I'm considered to be an upper caste, right? So they look at me, if I say anything, they'll roll their eyes and they'll go, of course it makes sense you will say that because you don't care about the caste system and how it is affecting people. Things like that.
And you're just oppressing people. It's absolutely horrific, and it looks as if it's jumped a long way ahead. So this is the future. This is the future that we're very scared of, and it's been implemented without the lesbian and gay rights bit of the 30 years of liberation. It's just gone straight there to the horrors, and it's chaotic as well. So, like you say, it's very difficult to resist it.
In the Supreme Court conversation where the petitions were being heard for same-sex marriages, I was cringing so much because every lawyer that put forth a petition is talking about trans rights and talking about non-binary and using terminologies like assigned male at birth and all of those terminologies that have no legal basis whatsoever, and they're schooling the judges, explaining to them how this is how the future is and etc. It's very complicated because pertaining to my film right now, they are saying that trans-identified males marrying a female is now a gay rights issue, which is not. It is not. It's just straight couple, right? So there is no concept of biological sex in this whole discussion, and that is a scary thing, especially in a country where you have rapes happening every minute, probably, and all other forms of sexual violence that women have to go through from the time they are born. There are villages in India still where you can't check the sex while the baby is still inside the mother's body, but because it is illegal, because there have been cases of female feticide and things. But now, even in some places, once a child is born, if it is female, there are customs where you go to a certain old lady who can poison the child because it is female. This is still happening now. And they are conveniently ignoring the importance of sex.
Hello, my name is Vaishnavi Sundar, and I'm a filmmaker from Chennai, India. I have been making films since 2013, and all my work is about the lives and experiences of women. I have taught myself to make films over the years, and I now write, direct, produce, and edit all my films, learning new things every day. Some of you may know me as the creator of Dysphoric, the 4-part documentary series on the rise of gender identity ideology and its effects on women and girls. Thank you to everyone who watched, shared, and supported the film. I am now in the process of making my next project, and it is called Behind the Looking Glass. In this film, I'm documenting the stories of women whose partners or husbands transitioned. I've spoken with nearly 40 women, of which 18 stories will be part of the film. These are women from all over the world, because this phenomenon, much as the ideologues would have you believe, is not rare. The film will feature stories of women from Japan, Australia, Germany, and many others. And I will include the latest developments in India, where a growing number of adult males are seeking surgeries, and the courts are considering it as a valid reason for divorce. Unfortunately, though, given the population and diversity of languages, Indian women are yet to log their experiences using the vocabulary that is universally understood. But I regret South Asia is soon going to be engulfed by it. Filmmaking is a time-consuming job, and it is highly dependent on 2 things: building a strong, like-minded team, and of course, money. And ever since I started talking about the harms of gender identity ideology, my access to both these things have been snatched away. The more controversial I get, the lesser my chances of finding collaborators and funding. Suffice to say, it is a lonely and exhausting job to take on several aspects of filmmaking all by myself. But with the help of a very small team and the feminist support from women world over, I hope I will execute this project just like I did Dysphoric. But I need your help. MACS, Male Allies Challenging Sexism, is a group of pro-feminist men challenging male violence against women in all its forms through events, actions, and activism. They have come forward to collaborate with me on this project as a fundraising partner. Considering how much work women-led feminist groups take on, it is good that MACS have stepped in to pull the weight. While women donate so generously towards this fight, I hope MACS will be able to persuade men too to come forward and support projects like mine. 100% of funds donated via MACS go into making the film, and you can donate as little or as much as you can. Another way to support my film involves owning some pretty fabulous merchandise. Women's Rights Network and Violet Wind have introduced a new line called Fearless Female on their merch store to raise funds for Behind the Looking Glass. You can choose from a long list of things like t-shirts, hoodies, water bottles, mugs, tote bags, phone cases, and such. Every time you buy from the store, 75% of the proceeds go into the film. Now you get to own something pretty amazing while also contributing to making a very important documentary. We are building 8 characters from scratch who have to remain anonymous due to possible dangers from their ex-partners. So your donation will help me bring those characters to life. Your donation will also help me with the huge expenditure towards post-production. As many of you know, I try to always work with an all-female crew. So by supporting this film, you are in turn supporting all the women in the crew. Behind the Looking Glass, in all likelihood, is the first ever documentary made on this subject. And together, we can create a historic piece of film that will remain on the internet for posterity. Please donate now.
Anyone who's experiencing abuse or infidelity, it's not getting better.
Get out. Get yourself out of this.
Do not allow yourself to be persuaded or influenced by blandishments and manipulative arguments.
Try to extricate yourself. Figure out the finances.
There's nothing you can be or do that will make you the object of his affection. He is the object of his affection.
It's like my dad died when I was 11, but I didn't realise. And I've been mourning him for 40 years.
On the left, it's axiomatic that the untold stories will be told. This particular untold story, no one wants to hear.
私たちのような存在に対して何があっても好き好んで一緒にいたんだから合意の上でしょと考える人もいて、そんなことでは相手を無罪にさせられかねないから嫌なんです。
In a marriage where your partner started to use drugs or cheated on you, you would find therapists, support groups, and other women who would say, this is not your fault. But on this topic, people are very quick to question whether or not you responded to it correctly.
Because a lot of what we're describing is familiar patterns of domestic abuse. And it's quite a big leap for people to make from hearing the stunning and brave story with the woman who goes along with it to hearing our story, the woman who talks about how she's been abused. It's hardly covered at all.
When it comes to newspapers and what sells newspapers and what gets clicks, I think a man standing there in stilettos with fake breasts is obviously going to get more clicks, more attention and sell more papers than the abused wife in the background.
One narrative gets all the airtime and the other one just has to be silenced. And that's the woman who's saying, well, he hit me, he raped me. He spent all our money, he was terrible to the children. No, that's now a woman, best sort of woman, the trans woman, and she just has to shut up.
Women are finding us by Googling transwidows. What's been really surprising from looking at the website traffic is just geographically where a lot of these women are. Countries like Russia, Japan, and Saudi Arabia, if we're going through it here and we're being silenced, how much worse must it be for all of those women in cultures where women don't have a voice at all?
Because I think it happens in all cultures, in all religions, in all societies. This is not just a thing that happens to only white, American, European people.
When AGPs are fetishizing women's oppression, you have to ask yourself, is it even more likely that they're going to be fetishizing it in countries where women are even more oppressed?
This man has been on this hero's journey. He's reinvented himself. He's come out like a phoenix or a butterfly or something like that. And he's now this beautiful woman. And there's this fucking bitch who is saying, no, that's not my story. This is my story too. I married a man. You fathered my children. And she has to be silenced.
Ich meine, wenn man 2 Kinder geboren hat, gerade mal wenn die Kinder noch klein sind, dann ist das Sexualleben halt ein bisschen, sagen wir mal, zweitrangig. Und damit wollte er mir sozusagen, dadurch, dass ich so abwesend bin, zu ihm, in seinen Augen wahrscheinlich eher ablehnend, müsste er das ja tun. So, look what you make me do.
This might seem as though it's the end of everything for you, and it might seem as though it's the end of your life, everything you had or believed you had, but it isn't.
J.K. Rowling has a quote that rock bottom is a great place to launch off from. That is the spot where you get to recreate and redefine what's important.
If people choose to be horrible to me and to insult me and call me names, then so be it. I will not be silent about it. Not for my sake. The damage is done to my life now. But for the sake of women everywhere who are being silenced on this subject, I'm speaking out for those people.
I cannot tell you how much happier I am now than I ever was in my marriage.
It's better on the other side. Yeah.
Thank you so much for making that. That's amazing. That is amazing. It's just a delight to see it, and I just can't wait for the whole thing to come out. I'm just worried that Matt Walsh is going to copy this and say it was his idea.
Yeah, just earlier today, I'm in a different city right now to do more animation work. That's why the purple background is missing. But I'm here because I've been so sleepless and I can't find my words right now. But there is so much that I wish to say. about the Indian situation and about the film as well. But right now, I feel like I have this tunnel vision to just finish the film. Sleep doesn't matter, food doesn't matter, nothing matters, just got to finish the film. But yeah, it's true that soon after this is over, there are going to be 100 men that will still say, where are the feminists? Why haven't they done anything about it? Feminists are the reason why things have gone wrong. Like there is no electricity in my house. Feminists are to blame. No matter all the other things that are going on in life, this seems to be like the priority right now. So I am really glad that I could speak to all of you today. WDI has been absolutely supportive to everything that I have done so far. So to be able to speak about this and show this trailer to all the women that are in the webinar and later on, it means the whole world to me. So if anybody can help by sharing or donating whatever little you can, the amount really does not matter, but every little will help. If you can't afford to donate, it's perfectly okay. Please just share the trailer as widely as possible. And if there are ways in which I can spread information about this trailer, if you have a Substack, if you have a blog, if you have a podcast, if you'd like to have me over, please just write to me. I just wanted to say that the film will become available for free for everybody to watch soon after it is done, as usual with all my films. That's why it's even more important that we all make this possible to be made. And it's an all-female crew, like I said in the video. It's important also because in the Global South, it seems like I'm always a little bit ahead in terms of getting this information out. Like a lot of people that are watching it or even knowing about gender identity disorder, gender dysphoria and things like that, haven't heard about this issue as much as the rest of the world has. So if you talk to common people, it seems like it is going to take them another 5 years before they realize how serious the issue is. So I think it's even more important that we have all of these resources available for those people when they are faced with a situation like this.